heard the budget presentation, went through the budget for several hours and asked questions. And to summarize, the total village budget, all funds, is down 1.2% and to $128,218,570. That's the revenue side. Expenditures are down 1.7%, $131,455,000. On the general fund, which is the village's primary operating fund, revenues are only expected to go up 0.1%. Significant reason for that is the state of Illinois taking part of the local government distributive fund to help balance their budget and imposing a collection fee for collecting sales tax. On the expense side, our expenditures are going to decrease 3.1% to $56,621,140. I'd be happy to respond to any questions if anyone on the board or the public has any.
Anybody from the board have any questions? Anyone in the public have any questions? Anyone would wish to speak? Anybody want to speak to the board? Come on up. Okay, guess not. At this point, the chair will accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion to second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned. Our board meeting will start at 7 o'clock. That was a long one.
Rachel did a good job.
Long one, long one.
Trustee Arnett.
Present.
Trustee Mills.
Present.
Trustee Newell.
Present.
Mayor McLeod.
President, everybody please rise. Trustee Plapis leads the pledge. This meeting is being broadcast live and will be shown on our cable channel in repeat form during the course of the week. Also, I'd like to let everybody know that we are having a special transportation committee meeting after the conclusion of this board meeting, and we'll be discussing Alcoa Lane parking conditions. This time, we move on to item 3, recognition of the audience. This is for someone who has a question or concern for an item that's not on the agenda. That'll be the time to come forward. Going once, twice, 3 times, we'll move on. Move on to 4, approval of the minutes of the November 20th meeting. Chair would accept a motion.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion, there's a second. Any questions or on the minutes or any corrections? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have a motion carried. Item number 5, consent agenda omnibus vote. Chair would accept a motion.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion, a second. Anybody want any of these items pulled? Seeing none, we'll be voting on, and this omnibus vote is A, approval of the agenda, B, approval of the schedule of bills for December 4th, 2017, in the amount of $2,574,879.11. C, request board approval of an ordinance granting a variation to premises at 1694 and 1700 Pondview Drive. D, request board approval of an ordinance granting a special use to Hoffman Estates Real Estate, LLC, owner southeast corner of Hoffman Boulevard and Old Sutton Road extended. E, request board approval of an ordinance granting an extension to a special use amendment to Poplar Creek LLC owner and Stonegate Properties, Inc., applicant 2401 West Higgins Road, Hoffman Estates. F, request board approval of an ordinance amending section 12-4-2, rates for water and sewer service of the Hoffman Estates Municipal Code. G, request board approval of an ordinance amending section 8-2-1, fees, and 8-3-14, employees of Article 3, alcoholic liquors of the Hoffman Estates Municipal Code, liquor license interview fee, and Bassett program. H, request board approval of an ordinance adopting the budget for all corporate purposes of the Village of Hoffman Estates, Cook and Kane Counties, Illinois, in lieu of the appropriation ordinance for the fiscal year commencing on the first day of January 2018 and ending on the 31st day of December 2018. I, request board approval of an ordinance authorizing the levy and collection of taxes for the corporate and municipal purposes of the Village of Hoffman Estates for the fiscal year beginning on the first day of January 2018 and ending on the 31st day of December 2018. J, request board approval of a resolution abating a portion of the 2017 tax levy, Series 2017A and 2017B general obligation bonds. K, request board approval of a resolution abating a portion of the 2017 tax levy, Series 2015A and 2015C taxable general obligation bonds. L, request board approval of a resolution abating a portion of the 2017 tax levy, Series 2015B general obligation bond. M, request board approval of a resolution abating a portion of the 2017 tax levy, Series 2008A and 2009A general obligation refunding bond. N, request board approval of FY 2018-2025 capital improvements program as recommended by the Capital Improvements Board. O, request board authorization to award contract for State of Illinois joint purchase of 2017-2018 winter road salt to Morton Salt, Inc., Chicago, Illinois, at a unit price of $48.97 per ton, in an amount not to exceed $176,292. P, request board authorization to award contract for 2017 electronic message board upgrade to Omega Sign and Lighting, Addison, Illinois, low qualifying bid, in an amount not to exceed $59,800. Q, request board authorization to, 1, waive formal bidding, and 2, purchase a snow removal tractor through Burris Equipment, Joliet, Illinois, using the NGPA contract discount in an amount not to exceed $36,615.15. R, request board authorization to, 1, waive formal bidding, and 2, purchase a mini skid steer with attachments through Vermeer Midwest, Aurora, Illinois, using the NJPA contract discount in an amount not to exceed $43,575. We got through that without using up every letter in the alphabet. There is a motion, a second. Any questions on any of these? Seeing none, can you pull the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Palafis?
Aye.
Trustee Stanton?
Aye.
Trustee Gata?
Aye.
Trustee Arnett?
Aye.
Trustee Mills?
Aye.
Trustee Newell?
Aye.
Mayor McLeod?
Aye, motion carried. Move on to 6A, President's Report. We have some proclamations, Madam Clerk?
Yes, we do, and I get the first one, Office of the Mayor Proclamation. Whereas exemplary public service employment is of vital importance in assuring provision of services directed toward the health, welfare, and safety of the citizens of any community, and whereas the Public Works Department has upon its roster an individual who should be commended for assisting said department in faithfully serving the citizens of this community, and whereas length of service coupled with continued training and positive attitude toward assigned job tasks make a profile of this dedicated employee. And whereas the Village of Hoffman Estates, on behalf of its citizens, desires to acknowledge its indebtedness and gratitude for 20 years of dedication and proficiency in the aforementioned department. Be it therefore resolved that William D. McLeod, acting under and by the virtue of the authority vested in him by the Constitution of the State of Illinois and the laws of this Village of Hoffman Estates, hereby proclaim Tuesday, December 19, 2017, as James Arvidson Day in the Village of Hoffman Estates, and urge all employees and citizens of this village to join us in expressing gratitude and appreciation to this employee who may have assisted them with outstanding service.
Chair will accept a motion.
So moved.
I'll second. Motion and second. We appreciate the great job that Jim has done for us for the past 20 years. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carried. Mr. Nibble, will you accept this and give Jim our thanks? Keep up the good work on the no snow, Joe.
Yes.
Whereas on November 9th, 2015, the Hoffman Estates Board unanimously approved the Bulls' proposed NBA Development League, D-League team, and whereas the team was named through a contest on the Chicago Bulls website, fans submitted nearly 3,600 suggestions, which were narrowed down to 3 finalists: Great Lakes Bulls, Heartland Bulls, and Windy City Bulls. And whereas Brad Seymour, president of the Windy City Bulls, announced the team's new name and logo at Dwight D. Eisenhower Junior High in Hoffman Estates on Wednesday, February 24, 2016, and whereas based in northwest suburban Hoffman Estates, Illinois, the team plays their home games at the Sears Center Arena, 25 miles from Chicago. The team became the 13th D-League team to be owned by an NBA team and is coached by Charlie Henry, a former assistant coach with the Chicago Bulls. And whereas on Friday, December 8th, 2017, the Windy City Bulls will go head-to-head with the Rio Grande Valley Vipers, where they are anticipated to crush the competition. Be it therefore resolved that William D. McLeod, acting under and by virtue of the authority vested in him by the Constitution of the State of Illinois and laws of the Village of Hoffman Estates, hereby proclaims Friday, December 8th, 2017, as Windy City Bulls / Hoffman Estates Appreciation Night in the Village of Hoffman Estates, and urges all Hoffman Estates residents and businesses to join in its observance by attending the game with friends, family, and coworkers, and cheering as enthusiastically as possible for the Windy City Bulls, players, and coaching staff.
Chair would accept the motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. We really appreciate the great partnership we have with the Chicago Bulls and the Windy City Bulls. We do have a Bulls representative. You care to come up to the microphone and say a few words?
Yes, on behalf of the Windy City Bulls, I would like to thank the Village of Hoffman Estates for welcoming us in our inaugural season last year and continuing to support us as we progress into our second season of basketball. As a thank you, we are offering $3 tickets to this Friday's home game against the Rio Grande Valley Vipers to Hoffman Estates residents. Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have a motion carried. You want to start with the gentleman over there? We're going to want to get a picture here, too, if you want to stand right up here.
All right, everybody ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I have the next one. Office of the Mayor Proclamation. Whereas the holiday season between Thanksgiving and New Year's Day is one of the deadliest and most dangerous times on America's roadways due to an increase in impaired driving. Since 1981, every president of the United States has demonstrated the commitment preventing impaired driving by proclaiming December as a National Drunk and Drug Driving Prevention Month, and more recently, National Impaired Driving Prevention Month. Whereas approximately 1/3 of all traffic crash fatalities in the United States involve drunk driving with blood alcohol concentrations of 0.08 or higher. In 2016, there were 10,497 people killed in these preventable crashes. In fact, the average over the 10-year period from 2006 to 2016, more than 10,000 people die every year in drunk driving crashes. Whereas one recent study, the latest version of NHTSA, roadside survey of alcoholic and drug use of drivers, found a large increase in the number of drivers using marijuana or other illegal drugs. In this 2014 survey, nearly 1 in 4 drivers tested positive for at least one drug that could affect safety. And whereas through research, public awareness campaigns, the state safety grant programs, National Highway Transportation Safety Administration demonstrates its commitment to eliminating impaired driving. Be it therefore resolved that William D. McLeod, acting under and by virtue of the authority vested in him by the Constitution of the State of Illinois and the laws of the Village of Hoffman Estates, hereby proclaim December 2017 as National Impaired Driving Prevention Month in the Village of Hoffman Estates, and urge all Hoffman Estates residents and businesses to join in the observance by committing to this practice of impaired-free, safe driving conditions at all times.
The chair would accept a motion.
So moved.
There's a motion, a second. This is so obvious that should need to be talked about, but it has to be. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have a motion carried. Chief Boss, do you want to accept this? And happy belated birthday. Okay, was in receipt of a letter today from the Government Finance Officers Associations. Dear Mr. McLeod, we are pleased to notify you that your comprehensive annual financial report CAFR for the fiscal year ending 2016 qualifies for the Governor Finances Officers Association Certificate of Achievements for Excellence in Financial Reporting. The Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in governmental accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by government and its management. Thank you again, Rachel Musiala, for doing this once again. There will be a formal presentation made later on. We celebrate Trustee Newell's birthday tonight. It's actually December 14th, so we get to celebrate again next week, so that's good.
Nice, yeah.
Also, for Mr. Hankey, Barrington Road going over the tollway, you're going north, you turn off a Hassel, and then there's the lane to go onto the tollway. The lane next to it is a through lane that suddenly, when you get closer to Geno's East, suddenly Central Road, yeah, suddenly becomes a right turn only lane. Is there some way they can either warn people earlier about that or come up with some sort of scenario? Because one day last week I was driving, there were 4 people that had to come right in front, and there wasn't even that much traffic, but they're all in the wrong lane.
All right, those last-minute lane changes
Yeah.
out of the right turn lane. Yeah, we'll talk to the tollway about it, see if maybe there's some additional signing that can be done. But yeah, that was the termination of the third lane was planned at Central. We'll talk to them about it.
Okay, I appreciate you follow up with them on that. Thank you. On Tuesday, the 28th, I attended the DARE graduation with most of my colleagues here at the Lincoln Elementary School out west. On Wednesday, went to Wine Wednesday at Carcillo's, the old Tiamos. On Thursday, the 30th, I had 2 mayors for a day. We had a great day visiting all around the town. I wanted to thank the trustees for showing up at the right time for the New Dawn Boutique ribbon cutting, since I have it on my calendar at noon, and I thought it was 1. I don't know how I managed to do that, but I will never live it down. My wife was talking about it again today. Also, I'll hear about it for the rest of my life. Also, that afternoon, we attended the 10th anniversary celebration for Dr. Savidra in the Health and Human Services Department. On Friday, December 1st, I had the opportunity to be principal for a day at Timber Trail School out west with Principal Biancalana, and it was a very enjoyable day. And there was a nice presentation from U46 at Villa Olivia after we had lunch there. On Saturday, the 2nd, most of us were able to help wrap presents for Shop with the Cop out at Target. I'm the designated tape guy because I can't wrap my way out of a paper bag, but they do find a way to still utilize my talents, or lack thereof. And that afternoon, we had the Teddy Bear Holiday Tea Party at the Sunderledge Farm. And on Sunday, December 3rd, we had the Nicholas Johnson Eagle Court of Honor at St. Hubert's, another Court of Honor for $3.99, another Eagle. They really pump them up. And at noon today, we raised the Illinois Bicentennial flag with many other communities across the state as the state begins the celebration of the 200th anniversary of the great state of Illinois. And then their graduation at St. Hubert's after that, and then cupcakes for Trustee Newell before the meeting. And I think that's all that I have at this point, and we'll move on to trustee comments. Let's start with Trustee Newell.
Okay, will do. Mention some of the things that you had, Mr. Mayor, but on the 21st was our budget meeting for the year. On the 28th, the HECPA wrap presents at the PD and stuffed stockings, which was really very organized. We were out of there in, I want to say, Trustee Arnett, right? Half hour, if I was right? Pretty close. It was good. On the 29th, the JAWA meeting I attended, and just in case there was somebody out there that asked me, what does JAWA really stand for? And it's the Joint Action Water Agency. On the 30th, Health and Human Services had the therapy dogs here, which is just really a lot of fun, and it's very calming, and it's so cute to see the little guys come up to the dogs and stuff. So, and while I'm talking about Health and Human Services, congratulations to Dr. Savidra for 10 years. Then, of course, on 12/2 is Shop with a Cop. According to some of the stats, 55 families were helped through this wonderful program at Target. It was a fun time, but it was also fun to see the kids' faces and see, how many of them are going to be helped for the holidays. The same day, we also did the teddy bear tea, and there was a giant stuffed, I think it was an elephant that was larger than all of us that the child brought in, barely made it through the door. It was fun. On the third, Eagle Scout Nicholas Johnson, and then last but not least, happy belated birthday to Chief Boss, and that's all I have.
Trustee Stanton.
Thank you. On the 21st, I was able to attend the retirement luncheon for the former Fire Chief Jeff Jorian. And on the 28th, I was here, or not here, I was at Lincoln Elementary School for the DARE graduation. That night, I was able to help stuff the stockings for the Shop with a Cop program, and we did finish in about a half hour. It was really quick. I was expected to be there an hour and a half, and we were there for just that half hour. Amazing. Anyway, on the 30th, I was able to attend the grand opening of the new Dawn Boutique with village manager Jim Norris and our village clerk, Bev Romanoff. And that's on Palatine Road by Jewel. We hope they do well. And then on the 2nd, I stopped by at the Sunderledge Farm for the Teddy Bear Holiday Party. I want to thank again the Historical Sites Commission for putting that on. They always do a wonderful job there. Today, then, I was here for the Illinois bicentennial flag raising ceremony, and then later at the DARE graduation at St. Hubert's. And finally, happy birthday to Trustee Newell.
Thank you. Trustee Arnett.
Okay, on the 21st, I was also able to attend the Finance Committee meeting. Tuesday, 28th, I was also at the Santa wrapping and stocking stuffers. We did get done quite a bit earlier than planned because we had close to 30 volunteers there, so that helped a lot. 12/2, also attended the Shop with a Cop, where we did have 55 kids, and my compliments to the Hoffman Estates Police Charitable Foundation for raising the funds to help these kids out and bring this program together. Also attended the Teddy Bear Holiday Party at Sunderledge Farm, and also attended on Sunday the 3rd the Eagle Court of Honor for Nicholas Johnson, and also belated happy birthday to Chief Boss, and an early happy birthday to Anna Newell.
Thank you. Trustee Mills.
Well, I was at the Finance Committee meeting on back on the 21st, and also at the retirement luncheon for Chief Jorian, and we wish him well in his retirement as we go forward. Happy birthday to Trustee Newell, as it's coming up. I guess belated birthday to Chief Boss. Sorry I missed it. And most of the rest of the weeks in between, my husband and I enjoyed a nice, needed vacation. But I'd like to, my one regret was missing Shop with a Cop, because I think I've done it most of the years it's been here. Want to thank all those that contributed and helped to do that. It's a great event, and if you've never helped out, if you can, please be a part of it. And also thanks to staff for all their hard work and bringing in another great budget as we go forward. It's a reasonable one and one we can live with.
Thank you. Trustee Palafis.
Well, without repeating all of those things, happy birthday to Anna. You look great in purple, by the way. Also, Monica, congratulations on 10 years. Chief Boss, happy birthday to you. If you have a party, I'm available. Just so you know, it's a standing, Other than that, I also went to the Scout Troop 399 Eagle Court of Honor. I love going to those. Did the Veterans Memorial, did an Arts Commission meeting, some other stuff. That was pretty fun. But I also want to, convey thanks to everybody that puts the Shop with the Cop events on and how it helps the families and everybody involved. Thank you. That's all for me.
Okay. Trustee Gata.
Here we go. On Monday, the 20th, the Citizens Fire Academy graduation here at Village Hall. And then on Tuesday, November 21st, the retirement luncheon for Fire Chief Jeff Jorian. And good luck to him in his retirement. Also, we had the Finance Committee special meeting here. And then on Tuesday, the 28th, we had a DARE graduation at Lincoln Elementary School at 1650 Maureen Drive. Officer Betting, he does an excellent job there. And we had the mayor and trustee Gary Stanton and Chief Ted Boss was there. Then on Wednesday, the 29th, the retirement luncheon for Pamela
Meineke.
Meineke. Oh, thank you. Meineke, Public Works. That was at Village Hall. In fact, Village Clerk Bev Romanoff was there with us. Then on Friday, the 1st, Haverford Christmas Party at Stonegate Conference Center, which was excellent. The meal and the wait staff was very good. And then on Saturday, Shop with the Cop. There is absolutely no question about that. As far as the amount of kids that could walk with a cop and pick out whatever that they wanted, up to $200 because of the donations and so forth, was absolutely excellent. And it was one thing that was a little different, that one of the officers that was walking with one of the kids bought that child a gift. That was the first time that we have seen something like that. And that is to commend you and your staff as far as the way they think on that, Chief. Let's see. Also, on Saturday, we all attended the Teddy Bear Holiday Party at Sutherland Farms. And then on Sunday, the Eagle Court of Honor for Nicholas Johnson, St. Hubert's Church. And one, happy birthday to you, Anna. Happy birthday to you, Chief. And congratulations to Dr. Savicha, right, for your 10 years for. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Move on to 6E, committee reports, planning, building, and zoning. Trustee Stanton.
You skipped
Oh, I skipped.
Uh-oh.
the manager and the clerk.
Oh, the manager. Well, I don't think anybody wanted
They
to
don't
hear
need
from
to
them.
talk.
did they? Okay, village manager's report. I was overloaded on all the comments there.
Just happy birthday to Chief Bost and Trustee Newell, and congratulations to Corporation Council on the birth of another grandchild.
Yes, congratulations.
Oh, we didn't even know
Well,
about that
we're
one.
sandbagging.
Okay,
That's it.
6D, village clerk's report.
Okay. Besides my totals for passports and FOIAs, there were 49 passports and 135 FOIAs during the month of November. Some of you might have seen in the paper that there's going to be another craziness with passports where you're going to have to get a passport to get on a plane. And so that deadline that it is now is January 22nd. And nothing has come through the passport agency or anywhere else other than the Daily Herald. So this is kind of, we're expecting we've had like 5 people come in already getting passports because they're afraid of this. So if anybody, until they hear something different, is planning any travel around January 22nd, you're going to need a passport. And supposedly, those new driver's licenses like I have may not be in compliance with what is supposed to be out there. I see Steph go, huh? The little dog ears went up. So we have to figure this out, and nobody's given us any information on what's going to go on. But we've got, a month and a half, so we'll see what happens. Stay tuned. If I get more information, I'll put it out there. We'll put it on our website, whatever. That's it.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to committee reports. Planning, building, zoning. Trustee Stanton.
Thank you. We will meet here next week, December 11th at 7 p.m. We'll have a roll call, and after that, we will have approval of the minutes for November 13th, 2017. Under new business, we have 5 items. Request by the Hoffman Estates Park District for A, an extension of the Chino Park Intergovernmental Agreement to December 31st, 2034, and B, site plan approval for community garden plots. 2, request approval for a contract extension for elevator inspection and plan review services to Elevator Inspection Services Incorporated of Burr Ridge, Illinois. 3 is request acceptance of the Department of Development Services monthly report for Planning Division. 4 is the monthly report for Code Enforcement Division. And 5 is the monthly report for Economic Development and Tourism. We'll then have a President's report, and after that, there is nothing so far on other or items in review, and then we will adjourn.
Thank you. General Administration Personnel. Trustee Arnett.
Okay. Immediately following the Planning, Building, and Zoning Committee, we will call to order the General Administration and Personnel Committee for December 11, 2017. We will begin with a roll call. Then have approval of minutes for November 13th, 2017. We have 4 new items under new business. Number 1 is discussion regarding 2018 Village Board and Standing Committees meeting schedule. Number 2 is request acceptance of Cable TV monthly report. Number 3 is request acceptance of Human Resources Management monthly report. And number 4 is request acceptance of Legislative Operations and Outreach monthly report. We will go to President's report if there's any additions, if there's anything in other or items in review, and we'll call for an adjournment.
Thank you. Transportation Road Improvement, Trustee Mills.
In addition to a special meeting we'll be having later this evening after the board meeting, next Monday evening, we will meet following General Administration and Personnel. We'll have roll call and approval of the minutes of both November 13th and tonight, and only one item, request acceptance of Transportation Division monthly report. That's it.
Thank you. Public Works and Utilities, Trustee Newell.
Okay, on the same night, immediately following transportation, we will have Public Work and Utility Committee. We'll have a roll call, approval of minutes from November 27th, 2017, and under new business, we'll have 4 items. Item number 1 will be request authorization to extend 2017 contract for 2018 contracted Parkway Tree Trimming Program to Winkler's Tree and Landscaping Incorporated out of LaGrange, Illinois, which is the low bid, in an amount not to exceed $50,000. Item number 2, request authorization to waive bidding and purchase a portable message board through Tapco Incorporated out of Brown Deer, Wisconsin, using the U.S. Committee's contract discount in an amount not to exceed $17,644.35. Item number 3 will be request acceptance of the Department of Public Works monthly report. And item 4 is request acceptance of the Department of Development Services monthly engineering report of the Transportation and Engineering Division. If the president has anything additional, nothing under other items in review, and we will adjourn.
Thank you. Public Health and Safety, Trustee Gata.
Yes, on the December 11th, immediately following the Public Works and Utility Committee, the Public Health and Safety will hold their meeting on December 11th, 2017. We shall have a roll call. Approval of the minutes of November 27th, 2017. Under new business, we have 4 items, all monthly report. 1, Police Department monthly report. 2, Health and Human Services monthly report. 3, Emergency Management Coordinator monthly report. 4, Fire Department monthly report. President's report, if there's anything in other items in review, and we will adjourn.
Thank you. Finance, Trustee Palafis.
So last and anything but least, we will follow the Public Health and Safety meeting with the Finance Committee meeting. We'll call to order. We'll approve the minutes for November 21st and 27th. Then we have 6 items under new business. The first is a request authorization to purchase excess property and liability insurance and excess workers' compensation insurance from Alliant America's Brokerage Services. Item number 2 is a request authorization to enter into an agreement for bond counsel and disclosure counsel legal services with Lewis F. Kinker, LTD, for the upcoming bond refunding. Item number 3 is a request authorization to declare an amount to be disclosed later as the developer and taxing district allocation for tax levy year 2016 within the EDA Special Tax Allocation Fund, and direct the treasurer to remit said funds to the developer and taxing districts per PA 097-0636. Items 4, 5, and 6 are a request for the acceptance of the Finance Department report, the Information Systems Department report, and the Sears Center monthly report. And then we will adjourn.
Okay, thank you. Move on to 7, Planning and Zoning Commission reports. 7A, request by Itasca Bank and Trust Company, trust number 12551, owner and Stonegate Properties, Inc., applicant for a site plan amendment for a second drive-through on the property located at 2061 through 2071 North Barrington Road with 5 conditions. The petitioner is requesting reconsideration because the item was denied in November 20th, 2017 Village Board meeting. Counselor?
A board member from the prevailing side would have to make the motion to reconsider. Looking at the records, that would be Trustee Noel, Palafis, Gata, or McLeod.
I'll make a motion for reconsideration for the request as mentioned.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second for reconsideration. Any discussion? Are you looking at sending it back to
No,
Planning
no,
and
no,
Zoning
no.
Commission?
At this time, this vote just brings the matter back
Back to the
before
table.
us. So
Okay.
it's- Okay.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, can you pull the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Palafis?
Aye.
Trustee Stanton?
Aye.
Trustee Gata?
Aye.
Trustee Arnett?
Aye.
Trustee Mills?
Aye.
Trustee Newell?
Aye.
Mayor McLeod?
Aye, motion carried. It's back on the table.
Now it's before the board for its consideration.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion for the consideration of the request as stated.
Second.
There's a motion, a second. Any discussion on this?
No. We're getting. What's before the board right now is the recommendation from the zoning board.
This is on 7A or 7B?
This is 7A.
Okay.
So the options that the board has considered in the past are either to vote on it,
Right.
to reconsider it on its face, or to remand it. So the remanding's options would be to the Planning and Zoning Commission because of the additional information of the shared parking agreement, condition being satisfied. Or if you don't think it needs to go all the way back to Planning and Zoning Commission, to remand it to the Planning, Building, and Zoning Committee of the Village Board. Or actually hold it here until the final little part of that shared parking agreement is handled through it being recorded against the subject property.
Okay, I had a motion and a second. Was that just to reconsider it today?
No, that was actually to approve it, to move forward, but maybe with the condition of the paperwork to be presented as, filed and proper would be the condition, unless you think it should go back to one of those. But I think really what was outstanding was just the one or two items, and
From staff standpoint, we think it should either stay at the board level or go to the Planning, Building, and Zoning Committee. But that's obviously up to the board to
That's,
decide.
that's. Well, there is a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
No.
well, my motion was for just the approval of it to move forward.
Right,
Because
so,
it seems like they have the information we requested, but it just needs to be filed and made official, right?
it needs to be filed against the property, at least according to Corporation Counsel's research. And you do have the burden of, since this was not recommended by the Planning and Zoning Commission, you need a supermajority of the board to overturn a negative recommendation to approve it.
Is that 5 votes, Counselor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, Trustee Palafis.
I could add the one condition that, the proper paperwork is filed in accordance with, the needed approval if we want to keep it here at the board level.
Or
It's up to
defer
you.
action
Well,
until
that
you
would-
have it.
That would be deferring action.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want
Is
to,
that what you meant, Mr. Norris?
Well, that's, yes, in the memo we sent out, it says defer action until the petitioner says, yes, it's filed, here's proof it's been filed, they give it back to us, we put it on the next agenda. Or you could do it to a date certain, which is normally what the board does. You say, you ask the petitioner, how long will it take you to get it filed? They get an answer, then you put it on the next board meeting for a status.
Yeah, I'm open as the motion maker to any of those options. Do we want to ask the gentleman when they can have it filed, and that could be the date certain?
sure. Can someone come up from Stonegate?
Let me help.
Hi, George Moser with Stonegate Properties. I have, since this is kind of an irregular request, I've never dealt with it in this being so urgent. But, so we're guessing about a week. I have requested already. They have already responded back, telling me he's out of town today and tomorrow. He did already forward it to somebody. He did already talk to the recorder's office, and they're gonna do it. So we're saying a week. I mean,
You could do it on the next regularly scheduled board meeting on the 18th.
Okay, that would be,
Was that-
that would be more, yeah, that would be great, because, yeah, I mean, because I'm considering Christmas and, and it's just, people are,
So I'm talking about the 18th of December before Christmas.
right, I know, that's, right.
That's our
So I'm-
last meeting of the
I'm
year.
just saying
That's our
time,
last
so-
meeting of the
So
year.
that's great, that's 2 weeks. So, okay, perfect, thanks.
All right, then. I'll amend my motion to the date certain of December 18th.
So it's a motion to defer to the 18th.
Yes, sir.
That's what I wanted to clarify, because it was.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you
someone had
did.
to come
I'm
up with
glad
the
you did.
paperwork and-
Yeah, I'm glad you did.
Okay. We have motion second. Any further discussion on that? Seeing none, can you pull the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye, motion carried. Move on to 7B, request by Itasca Bank and Trust Company. Trust 12551 owner and Stowgate Properties, Inc. applicant for variation under Section 9-3-8-M-10-E-1 of the zoning code to permit a third 11-square-foot menu board sign and additional ground sign, 3-square-foot speaker post on the property located at 2061 through 2071 North Barrington Road with 4 conditions. Petitioner again is requesting reconsideration as this item was denied at the November 20th, 2017 Village Board meeting.
Would you like me to make a motion with the same deferral for the date certain of December?
You'd have to do
18th?
the motion to reconsider and then do the motion to defer.
All right, I'll make a motion to reconsider.
Second.
Motion second to reconsider. Any discussion? No discussion. Can you pull the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye, motion carried. Now trustee Palafis.
Now I'll make a motion to defer to the date certain of December 18th.
Second.
There's a motion, a second. Any discussion on this item? See none, can you pull the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye, motion carried. Move on to 8, additional business. There is no additional business. Number 9, Chair will accept a motion
Move to
to adjourn.
adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion second to adjourn. Any discussion? See none, can you pull the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye, motion carried. We are adjourned.
Bev, are you taking, you doing the special? Yeah, we'll take a 5-minute break before we begin.
I'm just running through them. The one guy's funny. He's like, hey.
That was almost a bit. That was not good.
He's like, well, at peak times, there's no.
I'd like to call this meeting back to order, call us to order. A special Transportation and Road Improvement Committee meeting for December 4th, 2017. Could you please call the roll?
Chairperson Mills.
Present.
Vice Chair Stanton.
Present.
Trustee Arnett.
Present.
Trustee Newell.
Present.
Trustee Palafis.
Present.
Trustee Gata.
Present.
Mayor McLeod.
Present.
Thank you. We have one item on the agenda this evening, and that is under new business, discussion of Alcoa Lane parking conditions. And Mr. Hanky, would you like to get us started on this?
Yes, thank you. This is a result of requests from a number of residents who have approached staff about parking conditions on Alcoa Lane. Excuse me. I'd like to go through some of the information that we've collected to date, talk a little bit about the history of the existing permit program. There are a number of residents here this evening who I believe would like to address the board, provide a history and perspective from what they see on a daily basis. And then, of course, as always, if you have any questions of staff, we'd be happy to answer those. So the first thing is that there is an existing parking permit program, as I'm sure you're well aware, east of Washington Boulevard between Alcoa down to Berkeley on the south. This was done a little over 10 years ago. It was in response to a request from some residents who were concerned about overnight parking on right near the intersection of Alcoa and Spring Mill Drive. That went through a couple of board reviews. There was a lot of data collected about the number of vehicles parked on street where they were registered, similar to what's been done for this evaluation. The result of that was the implementation of a no parking except for those residents who had a valid hang tag from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. On the streets in that area that it is referred to. There were a couple of additional things that were done at the time that increased the parking supply. This was an issue that had to deal with residents who lived east of Spring Mill in the townhomes, parking on the west side of Spring Mill Drive in the neighborhood. The two things that were done in companion with or as a complement to the permit was, number one, the staff worked with the management of the Townhome Association. They were actually able to add a handful of spaces on the property to try to address areas where there was a demand in excess of the parking supply on the site. And then along with that, there was a change in the parking regulations on Spring Mill Drive. Previously, there was no parking allowed. But we looked at some traffic counts and determined that it would be okay to allow overnight parking on the west side of Spring Mill Drive from 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. So it was a situation where there were restrictions put in place that limited parking opportunities for those who didn't live in the neighborhood, but at the same time, there were parking capacity changes made to try to accommodate them. And what we've seen recently is the number of vehicles parked on Spring Mill during those hours. It varies from 1 or 2 vehicles up to, I believe it was the night of the budget meeting, so the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, there was 6 and 8 vehicles, so up to 8 vehicles parked there. That may have been more holiday related. But the point is that it was useful to increase the parking supply on Spring Mill. So that's a little bit of background about what's in place right now. This exhibit shows the limits of the current parking program. 50-some homes contained within that zone, and according to our records, roughly half of the homes have applied for and obtained hang tags. So a number of people found this to be useful to them. Others chose not, for whatever reason, not to obtain a hang tag. So the area in question tonight is just just west of the Washington-Alcoa intersection. The homes most proximate to that area have cited incidents of a number of vehicles that they believe are not affiliated with homes on Alcoa or Washington parking on the street, and along with that have noted other issues such as noise and littering, public nuisance, parking near driveways and the like, that it brought this to their wanted to bring this to our attention tonight at their request.
Mike, if you could just, on that map that you
Yep.
had there, there's the talk about the fence with the gate. Can you point that out on the map while you have it up there?
Yeah. So the stub, or the north part of Washington, north of Alcoa, dead ends into the backside of, let me move this out of the way. Dead ends into the backside of Spring Mill, the Steeple Hill and Highland Crossing condominium development.
That would kind of be by Mesa and Valley Lane?
Right, yeah,
Okay.
essentially, right.
Just so, for the board members too, who weren't here when that was brought through, just so we know.
Right.
The history was, for the board members, that initially there was no gate allowed. And I believe it was in 2001 or 2 that the condominium associations came to the board, and the board changed their mind. Different people on the board at that time changed their mind and asked that a gate be put in.
Okay. All right, just, please go ahead now. I just wanted to get that. So, you need something right now, trustee Palafis?
I just had a quick question.
Okay.
Is now okay, or do you want me to
Well,
wait?
I didn't know if Mike had any more of a presentation to make with it. Let's let him finish the
Okay.
presentation, okay?
Okay.
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, thank you. So, in response to this request, Police Department has conducted a number of counts of the vehicles parked on street around the Alcoa, Washington intersection. What's shown in the information here and in the packet are 2 of those count periods, one from June, one from October, and there's actually a supplemental one that was done in mid to late November that generally showed similar relationships, and that's that on any given night, you can see that, number one, that the number of vehicles parked on street range up to about 11 or so. The more recent PD counts have put that at up to about 13, but still within the same general range. The number of vehicles that were shown to be registered to Alcoa or Washington, interestingly, if you compare the spring and the fall counts, there were more people that were locally registered vehicles in the spring, summer than there were in the last check that were done. And in the November counts, there were none that were registered to Alcoa or Washington. And then the 2 other categories shown in this table, how many vehicles were registered to either Steeple Hill or Highland Crossing, and how many were registered to some other address. The Steeple Hill Highland Crossing, in round numbers, about half of the people who weren't Alcoa, Washington residents came back registered to an address in either Steeple Hill or Highland Crossing. And the other remainder, these would be cars that came back. Some were registered to other addresses in Hoffman Estates, not in that neighborhood, but there's various places around the village, as well as, from Streamwood, Carpentersville, some Chicago, Elgin. And unfortunately, without tracking the comings and goings of people, we don't really have any way to say with any certainty that those non-Steeple Hill Highland Crossing people are destined for that. That's the belief, but it's hard to say that with any certainty. So the recent counts showed similar relationships, about half of them being related to the condo developments and half somewhere else. We wanted to take a comprehensive approach to this, and I just want to go through this kind of quickly because I know a number of people have been waiting for a while and have some comments to make. We wanted to identify all the possible alternatives we could think of, acknowledging that not all of these are practical, not all of those are feasible, but we wanted to do our due diligence and figure out what options there might be for addressing conditions. So first was talking with the Highland Crossing Steeple Hill management. Things like, is there a way to increase the on-site parking supply? And the answer to that, unfortunately, really is no. Steeple Hill did expand their parking a number of years ago, but without disrupting a lot of the remaining open space, playgrounds, having to deal with detention and other issues on site, not to mention the cost. Neither of the management associations were considering that currently. We talked with them about possibly reconfiguring parking, narrowing parking the stall width down so that you could squeeze in a few more. That likewise was not something they were interested in doing. And the other interesting thing that came to light was that the requirements for getting an on-site permit within these developments apparently have become more strict over the years. The rental requirements now require background checks of various types, and to have your vehicle registered, you have to be on the lease or on the rental agreement, or show ownership on the property, plus show proof of vehicle registration, insurance, and such. And there's some belief that even though there may be permits available, that some people who are living there may not be taking advantage of them because of these stricter requirements. Again, we don't have any direct knowledge of that, but anecdotally, we've heard some of those comments. Other options, where could additional parking be added to accommodate people rather than having them seek a spot near Alcoa and Washington? Church of the Cross is one possibility. There were a number of vehicles, we believe, from Steeple Hill parking there at one time. The church board has asked that the village identify abandoned vehicles in the lot, and actually have towed a number of them, so there are not very many left in that lot anymore. Shopping centers, the India House Shopping Center to the west, we understand has an informal agreement with some of the residents of Highland Crossing, nothing that the management company is involved with, but some residents have sought off-site parking there. And then likewise, the police department being relatively proximate to the development was another possibility. With any of these, there are, of course, issues of how you control who is actually going to park there for what period of time, and how to deal with that if that doesn't work out as well as you thought it might. Another option, again, the specific request from the residents was to expand the permit parking area in some fashion. A couple of questions related to that. How big should that area be? Making it too small probably just means that people will walk a little bit farther and still park within the neighborhood. Making it too large, you have the consequence of affecting a lot of people who probably realistically are not going to be impacted by parking from the condominium association. But options might include expanding that permit area all the way over to Woodlawn, and then as far south as, again, down to Berkeley. There is another gate or opening in the fence of Highland Crossing on the west side. That's a relatively short walking distance if you were to go through that gate to Salem and then down south and then to Alcoa. So there's some concern, again, with if it's not made big enough, it might just move things around. What hours should be considered? There's been some concern expressed from the current request about parking during the daytime. The current restriction is for overnight, so you need to be consistent with what's done, again, to avoid just shifting the problem from one spot to the next. And then the other is who to notify of any potential changes. And then the final alternative would be trying to promote the use of Spring Mill Drive for parking. There are some of the addresses that have come back from registrations in the condos are really not that much farther walk to go to Spring Mill Drive than it is to go to Alcoa and Washington. Others, of course, are a little bit further away. So that's another item in the mix. As I mentioned, the police department had done these counts over several periods. purely from a traffic engineering and enforcement perspective, the vehicles that are parking there are parked legally. These are public streets, and the vehicles are from village residents, by and large, that are parking on Alcoa or Washington, even though they're not registered to the homeowners on either of those streets. So with that, I think I'll stop and answer any questions, and then again, I think a number of the homeowners would like to address the board.
Trustee Palafis.
Originally, when you started, I was thinking, the way we permit behind Hoffman Estates High School would be similar to what, we could do here as one of the options. Otherwise, we would have, in that neighborhood, everybody parking that goes to school there. I don't think that the residential streets and those folks should carry the burden of the mismanagement of parking spots by the condominium